All right, over to you, my friend.
Okay, good day, guys. Hello. I believe this is the Power Platform community in Iceland, Power Platform user group. And my name is Umunade Ogene Maru, but it's easier to just call me Maru. So that's kind of the short form of my name. So
Maru.
you could just call
Yeah.
me Maru. Uh, I'm currently a data engineer for Work Your Data, which is a UK-based firm. However, my first love actually is data analysis, which I specialize mostly in data modeling and data visualization using Power BI. So I will be talking more on how Power Platform can benefit small businesses, given the fact that it's a subscription model and the most of these companies are just coming up from the ground, and a couple of which, especially in the small business world, don't have that capital to take advantage of technology. So the best way is to look into low code applications that they can build themselves, and also look into solutions that would save them costs. At the same time, uh, pivot their businesses into places where they can easily scale from. So I'll basically be walking through the 5 arms of Power Platform. So we have Power Automate, Power BI, Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, then the Common Data Service. So these are what make up the Power Platform as we know it. And using Power Platform without having Office 365 to as a backbone to lay on can become dicey, especially when the people in question don't have enough experience. And given the fact that it will be SMEs that we're talking about here today, would require some extra knowledge. So the way we would go about it and the way I would advise people go about it is to first of all set up an Office 365 environment, then get to use the Power Platform. So this morning, I just have a question for the house. Is there anyone here that currently runs a small business? Uh, I would appreciate some reactions in the chat sessions.
I
Is there
think
anyone that
it's
currently
I think
runs
it's
a small business?
mainly
Developers?
partners. Yeah, I think it's mainly partners in here, but they probably
Hmm.
some of them service small businesses.
Okay. So I was hoping that we'll be able to get some small businesses in here so we could talk or walk one person through getting in. So to start with, okay, to start with the, okay, sorry, Gisli, do you run a small business? Okay, so Gisli runs a small business. Would you permit I use your small business to run examples throughout this session? Okay, so basically any kind of small business you run thrives on interactions, business interactions between either a business to business or business to customer, or between your enterprise and, should I say, virtual bodies. So these businesses, in their interactions, you would require staff. You would require, with time though, it might be a one-man business for a start. However, over time, you would require staff over time you would require more scale to your business. Now, this is where Power Platform sets itself apart from traditional software and application development. So getting solutions in particular to your organization would take longer with the average traditional methods. However, people feel that low-code platforms over time will be more expensive given the fact that they are subscription-based. But getting the best of both worlds is where a developer community comes in. Given the fact that it's low-code we are talking about here, anyone who has interest can learn to build your own solutions in-house. So at that point, you could take advantage of the Microsoft 365, the E5 developer program, where you get a subscription, amongst which you have Power Platform, most of the packages within Office 365. So doing that will put you at an advantage to learn, build, and at the same time scale. So communities such as the Power Platform user groups would provide you with solutions to cases that are too complex for you as a beginner. However, from the get-go, you could start using Canvas apps, which is what we'll be talking about today. Using Canvas apps to the advantage of your business. So I'm talking about 4 apps in particular, 4 Canvas apps. So I think I might start sharing my screen from here. So to set up, first things first, we'll talk about setting up a 365 dev account. So there's a short link for that, which I have already extracted. So let me try and get that in the chat box. So there's a short link to do that. And this will aid you to set up your 365 dev account. Okay, so back to Power Apps. So go to make.powerapps.com. So here, within this interface, this is where you learn to build your applications. So building applications don't have to take weeks or months. In some cases, even within Power Apps, it could take weeks, given the complexity of the kind of apps that we're building. However, taking advantage of these Canvas apps could help you set up your entire environment within days. So now, we'll walk through a couple of apps. So here, I will just go to more create options. Then there are templates here. Now, within these templates, we'll be talking about the budget tracker, the onboarding tasks, the interview, leave requests, and inventory management. So for most SMEs that have to do with sales, these 5 apps that I just spoke about would come in handy and would make a lot of sense for them. Just a quick question: is there anyone that is entirely new to the Power Apps environment here? Yeah, an instant sandbox kind of. So if you use, okay, so which is why I would walk through this together for you, Gisli. So let's go to, come here. So yeah, when you join, if you, sorry Gisli, hold on a moment. If you already have your, I already have all this set up already, so I might have to switch to another profile, which I don't want to do given the fact that I'm already reading Power Apps. But Gisli, if you already have, a Microsoft account, and you already have a domain, especially if you already have a domain, to be advisable to not use an instant sandbox, but rather set it up custom so that you could integrate your domain into the developer program. I hope that makes sense for you. Then if you use an instant sandbox to give you the ability to go through this with us almost immediately, because your account will be set up in a couple of, let's say, minutes. So here within this, so as I said earlier, let's first start off with onboarding tasks. So we won't be doing building. However, we'll go through a couple of methods I use. So underscore, let's say ppug.is test underscore test. So when I do this, create, given it's a Canvas app, it's a Canvas app basically is an already built app in which you just come in and edit the few things to make it personalized in quote. So Outlook tasks, I connect by Microsoft, create, so it prompts me to sign in with my account, allow access, and that's it. I allow. So let me skip this. So now within this interface, there might be a few things you would want to change, which would say in a bit. So let's say I want to test the app. There's a play button right here, and this ribbon right here. So I click this, then I pick who the admin is going to be. So let's say that's going to be me in this example. Then get started. Then this is how the onboarding app goes. So the entire onboarding process for your organization can be managed from here such that you don't have to onboard each of your staff or new staff that you get in the future, one after the other. And that would come in handy when you start to scale, as I said earlier. So if you onboard, say, 5 staff, the amount of time it will take you to onboard that 5 staff, once you can identify your processes, or you could pick the processes that already exist within the Canvas app, given your region, most of those processes will either be similar or a couple of documents would just need to change. So the amount of things you will need to change with a Canvas app as against building from scratch are less, which makes sense for a lot of SMEs. So if you have a small business, you want to spend as little time as possible on the process to get maximum outputs. Does that make sense? Can we all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm going too fast, please, you could always tell me to slow down, please. And I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay, am I going too fast?
Don't think so, but yeah, just please type in the chat or something.
Oh, okay. So now, when I test through this and let's say I set up a company photo, select from my gallery, pick my passport, for instance, save changes. So all of this would save you time. As you can see, the percentages are completing. I could pick out each task. If it's done, mark as complete, give descriptions. All of this are connected within a collection, which is also connected to a SharePoint. So it's from the SharePoint environment that all of this happens. So which is why I said for those without Office 365 experience, it might be a little dicey, given the fact that most things that we do here either harnesses the common data service or it's harnesses SharePoint, which is within Office 365 environment. So it would pay you to also interact a little bit with Office 365 if you are learning from scratch. But if you already have a couple of experience, a bit of experience with Office 365, it will make a lot of sense for you to dive right into Power Platform and you are good to go, given the fact that it's low code and it's easy to learn. So I pick one app after the other. Then when I'm done with this, I simply make my own app by selecting the app to become my own app. So if I click and make my own app, it becomes my app. But I won't be doing that now because later on we're talking about building an entire solution which will contain the apps that I'm talking about or the apps I'm working through. So we can take the team screen. So there are different screens. Now each screen has um, data within. Now, this data can be edited, and each of these data is designed. It's just like if there's anyone here that's worked with WordPress, where you more or less drag and drop and do a little bit of tinkering. So for those that are coming from the web end of things, if you've worked with WordPress, Power Apps will make a whole lot of sense. In fact, you practically be hitting the ground running. So this is how we build our apps within the Power Apps environment. If you have any of the functions you need to change, you could easily find them here. So even a newbie can hit the ground running using these Canvas apps because the amount of things you have to change will be minimal. And if you have any questions, the community is out there to support you. So if I save this, or let's say, for instance, I'm not willing to save, I'm not saving this because I don't want to save that. And let's take the next one, for instance, the budget tracker. So budgeting is a very important part of business. A lot of businesses fall out right here when we talk about budgeting. Now, for your business to thrive, your finances has to be in order. And a budget would help your entire business be prepared for the ups and downs of business itself. So to aid with that, a budget tracker is very important for your business. Now, say we take the same thing that we did earlier. Create. I won't be saving any of this, so I don't think I would need to do that till the last one where we incorporate everything into a solution. Now, a couple of people pay for budget trackers and budgeting apps such as YNAB and others. So having your own in-house budget tracker would also help you incorporate a whole lot of these things within the system. Now, as is with every Microsoft product, most of these apps, in fact, all of these apps can be restricted on a user by user basis, such that the users need to sign in. So you don't need to worry about things like access, things like role definition. A lot of these are already inbuilt into Power Apps. So these solutions don't require you to start implementing new security features because users need to sign in and you just need to build your restrictions into the app as you go. So let's take a preview of this app, for instance. Now, this contains different parts of your budget where you could take in what you spent and what you want to budget, and you could take in a new budget. So let's say we want to take in a new budget for the month of May. So what is the total amount that you have in stock? So let's say we have $32,000. So now the amount that we've budgeted for increases by far. So now we can track our expenses, and we could also add a couple of things to our budget. So this, as I said earlier, is for May. Let me zoom in a little. Now, within the May budget, we could now come here and start calculating our expenses. So I would not be using this. So let's say we start calculating our expenses. The expense name, for instance, should be, let's take, for instance, advertising. Advertising. Now, within advertising, your organization is willing to spend, say, $1,000 for the month of May on advertising. So this, by design, is for a personal budget. I'll need to come add another category. So for now, I'll leave it under miscellaneous, then save. So all of this would make a lot of sense to the average user who would need something as simplified as this to run his budget. So SMEs don't have to worry about subscriptions and all of that because they are already within the developer program. Now, under the developer program, you have access to the entirety of Power Apps, which will also help you put all of this into a solution for your business. So moving on from the budget tracker, I would move to another another app that will make a lot of sense for your business. So that is the leave request. So we've spoken about getting new staff and onboarding new staff. Now, we would be looking at the leave request. The HR departments of a lot of companies take things like leave as a whole lot of calculations and tax and the number of people that need to be involved when a leave request is made. All of these can be automated within one app such that you don't have to run these processes repetitively. Now, the advantage of technology to all of this, that's nice, Giselle, that's lovely. So the advantage of all of this to the average user is that the person can run all of this with one person in the HR department. So for instance, the job that you need 3, 4 HR staff to do, you could have one HR staff running that because you have these applications in-house. So the leave request, requires you to connect to Office 365 and Outlook. So these are also Office related, as I said earlier. So a couple of these will require Office. So as I said earlier, so this is it. And it's as simple as this for either party. For instance, a manager would want to know when the company holidays are, could add all the company holidays. you could take this, add some leaves. So for instance, this is pending for a user. I could either approve or decline. So the total number of days, leave type, all of this. Within here, I'm just meant to either approve or decline. And in the SharePoint list, it gives me a complete list of staff that are on leave and staff that their leaves have expired and what have you. So this aids the average SME that has a couple of staff to know what and who is available within what moment. So let's say I add a message, say, and oh, thanks for being an amazing staff and enjoy your holiday. Done. So I log out, then let me log in as an employee on my own end. So you could see that it's been approved. And I can see what kind of leaves I have and how many days I'm entitled to. And I could even say I want to request a leave. I take the dates I want and put them in. So this is an easier interface for your staff to work with, especially where you have staff in separate parts of the world and collaboration is necessary. So this entire solution that I'm talking about will make a lot of sense for you. So these are explanations on the kind of leaves and what have you. So this entire interface is really easy to use. Yeah, Gisil, yes, entirely. It could be an external system API. So what if you want to connect that to an API, you would just use one of the custom connectors, get the API request from your post or your get request from the API end of the human resource system that you are using. Then you would also need to structure a couple of tables to fit in to what you have on your own list. Do you get why I just explained, Gisli? Okay. So I said it could easily be integrated using a custom connector, as Aina has explained, where you could just take in your post and get requests, structuring the tables as you would love them to look. So yeah. Oh, sorry. Just accidentally clicked on SQL. Okay, now that's the same thing for every Canvas app. So we'd move straight up to solutions. So a solution is basically a group of apps or a group of apps that can be used to to within an environment to create its own effect or its own create its own. I'm looking for the word to use to explain this. So basically, so a new solution, you come in here, pick up a new solution. And let's name that ppug.is sample. So let's use the common data service publisher. So that comes in here. So let me take this. So now within this solution, we could easily pick up Canvas apps. So now this is where we talk about the entirety of Power Platform. Now we could pick up an app, an automation, take a chatbot, pick up dashboards that we could design on the spot within this that would help your business. So for instance, we want to pick up something that we've designed within Power BI. We could easily pick up something from Power BI and showcase here. So for instance, I want to take a Canvas app. So I pick the Canvas app and for instance, let's say inventory management. And I create that within here. So all the apps I create within a solution stay within that solution. So those 5 apps I was talking about for running inventory, for running your budgeting, onboarding, all of them. If you have them within a solution, you could easily keep that together within itself, and you could use that solution across your organization, and that would make things a whole lot easier for you. So I hope, are there any questions? So far, any questions?
Nothing in the chat at least, but I can yeah, maybe add one thing about the templates you talked about. They are also a great source for you to learn how to implement various functionality. So you can go into, yeah, for example, the leave request and see how that interacts with Office and Outlook, and then you can get ideas on how you can use those things. So you could even, create few template apps and take bits and pieces from each and every template app and use in your own. So yeah, I just want to encourage you to use those template apps as a source of learning and just dig under the hood, look at the formulas and see how they are doing. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Athena said that's the essence of this session, showing people who run SMEs that you don't need years of experience, you don't need months in time, cost, and resources to actually build these solutions that would make a lot of sense for your business. You pick up a template app, modify it, make that app your own. So make your own button right there at the top. You make the app your own, and you practically get the functionalities that that app has, and you could always implement that within your own solution. So that makes a lot of sense on multiple levels because it helps you learn fast, helps you scale fast with minimal cost. So I hope I've been able to help someone here. If at all, I also hope that we've learned something today. Over to you, Aina.
Yep, definitely. And it reminded me about those templates and how useful they are. So, and the same goes for Power Automate. If you want to do cloud flows, you can also use templates there. So, and this is one of the ways I used a few years back when I was starting to, learning these things. And from time to time, I still use this. I just create a flow from some template. It might have 1 or 2 actions that I'm interested in out of 10 or whatever. Then I just pick those out and delete the flow. So, and also on this, on the fact that the time it takes you to get a working application out there for your application, for your company, and doesn't matter if it's a small company or if it's a large company, but this time has greatly reduced, and you could, even in just a few hours, have a working app based on a template or just created on your own. And those templates, they are also, and definitely those that are built on top of Office 365 or Microsoft 365, then most of the companies are quite likely covered in terms of licenses. So you have everything you need. You just need to get the apps out there. And then, if your app gets outdated, you learn more, you don't want to use it anymore, something that's based on a template, and there is no harm in just, spinning that old app, create your own, because it's not that much time or investment. So yeah, it gives you the option basically to get started with almost zero investment. Okay, yeah, if there are no further questions or thoughts or anything from anyone, then yeah, if anyone.
Okay.
There's nothing else on the agenda, so
I think that brings an end to this session, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for the session. I will put the recording on YouTube and share it with the community, and I will get you the source file to the recording as well, so you can use it in your channel if you want.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, and just once again, thank you very much for taking the time to do this presentation for us.
No problem.
Much
Have a
appreciated.
lovely day,
You too.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.